The less that you own, the less that owns you. Hi guys, welcome back to the Interlinked Podcast. I'm your host, Ray, and I'm so grateful that you're here. We are already on episode 5, and today we're going to be covering all things pertaining to letting go, and we're also going to be diving into what it means to be a minimalist. So from the moment that you're born, this idea of materialism is ingrained. New mothers organize baby showers where they're quite literally showered with gifts. Of course, this is beneficial and lovely to receive the necessities like diapers, high chairs, strollers. But then comes all the toys, the baby clothes, the binkies, the bibs. And generally speaking, the new couple's home goes from a place with things to a place run by things. You know, there's toys everywhere, and this pile just keeps growing. Before you know it, you're squeezing past Barbie's dream house, stepping on Legos, and finding sparkles in your coffee. So to make matters worse, the child has already developed an attachment to these things, and they've become very important. You might realize that the house is being swallowed up by clutter, but at this point, you can't even clear it because the kid who used to just cry for the blankie is now crying over an iPad while still loving their real-life baby toy. Make that make sense. But it's not the kid's fault. You gave them the iPad so that you could focus during your remote job, not accounting for the fact that thousands of advertisements are broadcasted where the child is then exposed to more things and starts to desire more things. So according to the University of Southern California, this was in 2023, they've said we've gone from being exposed to about 500 ads a day back in the 1970s to as many as 5,000 ads a day today. The number of 30-second TV commercials seen in a year for the average child is 20,000, and the average person is 2 million. The amount of money that is paid for advertising is literally just insane. I know I looked up with my dad for the Super Bowl this year, one 30-second ad was $8 million. $8 million for one ad. With social media, you don't even have to own a TV to probably hit the numbers I just mentioned. Brands now worry less about how they're going to market and more about who they're going to pay to market for them. No matter what you're doing, if it involves technology or social media, ads are swarming all of our platforms. So I want you to think back to when you were a child. What were the things that you were collecting? So I'm going to start with elementary school, okay? And I'm going to be talking about the things that I collected because I've always been a collector. I'm very sentimental, and these things I'm mentioning are general though. You probably also collected them too. But I wanted to give you a little insight on how it starts when we're young, and some of us phase out of it. Some of us now are like, yeah, I don't really have anything that I collect in particular. But for a lot of us, it starts with one thing as a child, and as you get older, it just manifests into new things. So I'm going to go through mine. Let's start with elementary. So when I was in elementary school, I collected your typical Barbies and Polly Pockets. Kids nowadays will never know. But those were my main ones. And then I also collected stickers, and that is something that never went away. I still love stickers to this day. I love having a water bottle with my favorite stickers. I love plastering stickers on my MacBook. I just love stickers, okay? And also when I was little, if you listen to the episode about being more childish, I mentioned a story of me breaking my leg, and when I broke my leg, my classmates got together and they all collected stickers, and I got this bucket. And I think ever since then, getting that bucket of stickers, I I've loved them to this day. So that was my elementary school collections. Let's move on to middle school. Middle school, I was collecting Littlest Pet Shops, which I don't know if this is like old, because now saying that aloud, I'm like, is that normal to be into that when you're in middle school? I don't know, but me and all my friends were, so I don't know. I remember I had this Littlest Pet Shop keychain, and they came out with the minis, and that's what this keychain was. So it was like a little penguin, and it was in its igloo, and you could like take the penguin out and plug it into this different spot in the keychain. Like you could put him on his bed or you could put him on the floor. And I don't know, we were all obsessed with Littlest Pet Shop. So that was my middle school. We also had silly bands, of course, and the fun food erasers. So like, you know, the pizza or the taco, you could like take the little pepperonis out, put them in. Did we actually use them as erasers? I mean, maybe, but yeah, these were kind of everywhere. Like you could buy them at the book fair, or you could, you know, I don't know. We were like very into trading stuff. So I think middle school was a huge moment where I was collecting a lot of things, because it was a very like, I have this, what do you have type of culture. And that was kind of how we connected with each other. Another thing that was big was the lip balms. Okay. This is something that I don't think will ever go away, because we're always trying to find the best gloss, or that never goes away. Obviously right now there's like the Rhode lip balms and the e.l.f. lip oil, but back then it was the Baby's Lips lip balms. And I remember they were in all these fun colors. Like you had the orange and pink, you had the blue, the purple, the green one, and YouTube was kind of just starting out, and so people were posting about them on YouTube, and it's in my bag, and it was always all the lip balms. So that was middle school. Then flash to high school. So when I was in high school, I was kind of in my hippie stage. So I was collecting all of that type of stuff. I was collecting incense. I was loving this store in the mall called Earthbound, and I was getting a lot of the headbands. They had all these crazy patterns. That was really something I was into. Another thing that I was into in high school was bracelets, and I feel like you fell into one of these three categories, either the Loci bracelet, the Alex and Ani, or the Pandora. So, you know, the Loci bracelet was like, oh, the balance between highs and lows of life, and water infused from Mount Everest. You have the highest peak and whatever, the mud from the something sea. Like, shit was crazy, but we all ate it up and we all were buying them. So there was that craze. And then the Alex and Ani was like those metal bracelets with the little charms, and everyone had like an R for their name or whatever it might be, but girls had like a stack going up their whole arm, and that was kind of like, yeah, this is a depiction of how much money you have, because how many bracelets are you wearing? And then of course we had the Pandora bracelet, which I feel like Pandora bracelets were bigger in middle school, but people in high school still had them, and I feel like people were still buying them for like their significant others. So that was still a thing. Something else I was really into in high school was sunglasses. I had a ridiculous amount, and I genuinely don't know why I was so obsessed. I think it kind of went with the hippie theme. Like, I was just always wearing sunglasses and collecting them, and it was like a vital part of my outfits during this time. I also was collecting pins, putting them on my bags, putting them on my backpack. Yeah, pins were very cool to me, and this is where I kind of started getting into my love for vintage, because I started thrifting, and after that point it was over, because I no longer was limited to clothes or bracelets or lipsticks. I was into all things: clothes, trinkets, mugs, anything you can find at a thrift store, I was loving. So then I get to college and I'm really into your classic college stuff. So all the stationery, nice pens. I wanted the best notebooks. I wanted sticky notes and highlighters. And I was really just into all of that, the best planner. And I continued thrifting and I was kind of starting to narrow in on my style a little bit, or so I thought. I was buying bags and shoes and clothes and jewelry. And this was kind of like COVID times. So fast fashion was starting to rear its ugly head. I would say that style at this time was pretty insane. You had all of the swirly patterns and, everything was just bright and really maximalist vibes. And I fell for it for sure, but I was still thrifting, getting like vintage pieces on the side. So I was just accumulating a lot of clothes. Then we have post-grad. So after that, I'm like, okay, I'm moving out. I'm getting my own apartment. So now I need apartment decor. Now I'm really into containers and mugs and glassware. And I started to like save all the containers from everything on this quest of like being more practical or being more environmentally aware. Like, oh, if I use pickles up, I'm going to wash out the container and then use that for my carrots. Or, oh, let me just save tuna cans because I'm going to DIY candles. Girl, like I never ended up doing that, but tell me why. I was literally saving my tuna cans, okay? Probably like 20 of them. And I never ended up doing the candles. So like in thought, this is a nice idea to like be more sustainable and like reuse things. Totally down for that. But when you're not actually doing the thing you set out to do, like DIY candles with tuna cans, now we just are accumulating clutter because like, why are you still collecting them if you're not going to end up doing the thing? You know what I'm saying? I also began collecting plants for my apartment and decor, and I'm still collecting clothes at this point. And I luckily got an apartment where I have a huge closet in the entryway, and then I also have a huge walk-in closet as well. So I have a ton of space, and I feel like because I have all of this space, I was just bringing in more than I even needed because I'm like, oh, I have the room for it. And that brings us to present day. Depending on how old you are, you may or may not have gotten to the stage I'm at, or maybe you're well past it. If you are falling into the latter, I'm sure that you are drowning in stuff because I feel like we just kind of all are. When you're no longer confined to a 700 square foot apartment and you decide to purchase a home, best believe you're going to acquire more things. The more space that we have, the more that we try to take it up. You're going to convince yourself you need this for the kitchen, you need this for the living room, a lamp here, an appliance there, and before you know it, your basement is full of boxes you haven't opened since moving in, yet you refuse to give any of it away or go through it because it's quote unquote too much work. So you started out with a junk drawer, right? We all have a junk drawer that we start out with. And that's now turned into a junk cabinet, which has now turned into a junk closet and maybe even a junk room. Is this sounding familiar? So I live in my own apartment, as I mentioned now, but my room at my dad's house still stands. And this room, y'all, like it is or was an absolute tornado of junk. It's now cleaned up, but still there's a ton of things in there. There's a ton of clothes. There's a ton of my old college books and my old college notebooks and just all of these things that I feel like I can never get rid of. I've made strides with the clothes, but like, I don't know. I'm just so attached to things and it's really hard for me to rationalize giving them away because I'll make an excuse like, oh, I'll need this for when this thing happens, or I don't want to give away my notebooks because like this shows how much work I put in when I was in all these math classes, and maybe one day I want to look back on it, or maybe I'm going to end up teaching this class and I want to have my notes on it. And it's just like, let's be realistic here. Like, what out of this are we actually needing to keep? And I kind of convinced myself like, oh, I could sell these clothes on Depop, and let me make an Instagram page where I can sell them, and let me take all these pictures. And then you take the pictures, you find out it's actually a lot of work to post and make a caption and figure out the brand and figure out the size and try it on and take a picture in it. And it's like, okay, like I took the pictures, but like I now don't even want to make the post, or I set aside the pile, but I don't want to take the picture, and then I'm not going to make the post if I didn't take the picture. So it's like this endless cycle of like having piles of stuff that you think you're going to sell or get rid of, and then you never do. So what was the goal with collecting all of these things? What was I trying to satisfy by buying more than I could ever wear or need? Often, this is the result of trying to fit in. So think middle school. Middle school is the time of finding your identity, and often the more stuff that you have, the cooler that you are. Though I wish this concept went away with age, it sadly just manifests into the acquisition of more expensive things. So instead of wanting the most bracelets, now we want the most Apple products, or the most diamonds, or the most designer bags, or the most cars, or the biggest house. Whatever it is, we're still trying to have more and collect more. We still crave to fit in. We still crave to position ourselves in society. And we often associate this ranking with our self-worth, just as we did when we were in 6th grade. I just got a new car because, as y'all know, mine got smashed to bits. If you listen to the earlier episodes, I think that was episode 2. And when I was getting a new car, I knew that the moment I purchased it, I might feel like, oh my God, I have a new car, I love it. But I knew that that feeling would only last probably a couple days. And honestly, I was expecting it to last like no time at all. Like when I was buying my car, I was sitting here like, what makes the most sense? You know, I wanted a bigger car just because I want to be able to put my bike in the back seat if I wanted to, but I didn't want a car for any other reason than, okay, I need to go from point A to point B, and these are the few things that I need. Like, I needed CarPlay because I absolutely cannot handle not having my maps up. Like, I suck at directions. So that was one of the factors. But other than that, I'm like, I really didn't care. And I knew that that feeling of having a new car was going to be gone just as quickly as it came. But regardless, we're all kind of getting these things, and the satisfaction only lasts a moment, whether that's a new car or a new outfit or whatever it may be. The void that we're trying to fill, or the happiness we're hoping to obtain, dissipates almost immediately. We constantly think back to childhood and wonder what's so different about life now. Why was it so much better then? What made it feel so free? And we're constantly feeling nostalgic for a time that we can't get back to. For more on this, you should definitely listen to episode 3, where I talk about how to exist to please your inner child. But anyways, back then you would just want the things. You didn't have to think so much about what went into having them. Broadcasting these things that you acquired, though, was kind of always around. I mean, we literally had show and tell at school. We were then posting hauls on Instagram when that came about. YouTube started being a huge thing, and people were posting what's in my bag, what's my morning routine, house tours. That is when the comparison spiral began and never stopped. A lot of our world centers around holidays, right? This is nothing new, But what's new for a lot of young adults is the fading feeling of importance or the magic that once existed when we were a child. Holidays have always been about gifts, but it starts to feel different when you realize Santa is not behind it, and instead it's your dad who's working 100 hours a week to afford your new American Girl doll. It feels a lot simpler thinking that some man comes down your chimney with everything you wanted, but again, instead, it's your mom staying up all night wrapping your gifts. So flash forward, you're now gifting to others and you realize magic was never in receiving all of this stuff. It was actually in the fact that every year, you baked cookies together as a family, or every year you wore matching PJs and reluctantly posed for a picture to document it, or every year you played board games after dinner. Whatever your traditions are or were, I hope to convince you, if you haven't learned already, that the true beauty of holidays is never in the material items, and it is and always has been the time that you spend with the people that you love and the memories that you create with these activities or traditions. You might say, yeah, cool, I get that, but I still think gifts are the best part. Let me ask you, how long after you open your gifts do you actually feel satisfied? A day? A week, 2 weeks, a month? Does that bag of presents end up sitting either under the tree or in your room until you finally decide to put it away? Do you feel overwhelmed by these things? Do you want to keep them all? More often than not, you find that you're grateful for these things, but if you don't absolutely love them, they feel more like clutter. You might put them out just to be considerate of whoever got you them, or hang up the shirt thinking maybe you'll wear it, knowing damn well the tags will probably never be removed. So yes, sometimes others contribute to the clutter, but oftentimes the culprit is you. You buy things because they're on sale, or because someone else has them, or because you want to fit in, or because you feel lonely, or because you want to treat yourself, or because you want to celebrate an accomplishment, or because you want to make your life easier, or because you want to feel something. This leads us to the concept of letting go. Letting go of the urge and diving into the purge. So, I want to cover a few areas where I think you can declutter your life and your mind. You know what they say, a clear space creates a clear brain. Now, don't click off because I'm going to give you some step-by-step things that you can do to actually accomplish this big, scary, daunting task of decluttering. And I want you to make this fun. If you need to, throw on music or put on your favorite show while you do it. Do whatever it takes. Do not focus on how much work it is. Focus on how you're going to feel afterwards. So I want you to think to yourself, if your house or your apartment was on fire, what is making the cut? Let's start with your closet. Less is more. You're not going to go from 1 million pieces to 20, but here's how we're going to do this. What I want you to do is a yes pile, a maybe pile, and a no pile. The yes pile is going to be things that you wear regularly and you're constantly washing and re-wearing it. The medium pile is going to be things that you're kind of deciding on, but you don't really regularly wear, but for some reason you don't want to part with it. The no's are going to be things that do not fit or are ripped or stained or just not your style anymore. With this, I'm going to need you to let go of past versions of you that do not serve you, and that could pertain to your body as well. Body image is a huge issue that we all struggle with, and you need to give yourself grace. You do not have the body of your 14-year-old self, so why are you holding on to the clothes that fit her or him? So you have your piles. With your maybe pile, I want you to put this stuff into a box and throw it either in your basement or your closet or somewhere out of sight, out of mind. I want you to set a deadline for yourself. This could be a couple weeks or a couple months. And if you open that box and you don't feel an attachment to these things, it's probably in your best interest to give them away. If you try to reconsider, maybe I'll wear it for this event or this time, you might just be prolonging the inevitable that you don't need the item anymore. Be an outfit repeater. There is nothing wrong with wearing something more than once in a week, more than once in a picture. Like, we gotta get out of that framework, because being an outfit repeater is actually what allows you to determine your style and others to determine your style. Not that you're dressing for others, but you want to kind of have this style that is true to you and others pick up on it. If you're always wearing the same jacket, people will start to know, oh, that's Rachel's jacket. Like, you left it at the bar, that's hers. I know it's hers because she's always wearing it. Or they'll see an item and they'll be like, oh my God, that reminds me of her. She's always wearing those jeans and these look like those. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to start to have your own identity. And the way that you get that is by wearing similar things over and over and over again. And you should be wearing the things that you love. You should be investing in quality pieces that you can wear over and over and wash, and they're not going to shrink or start to lose buttons or the fibers are coming out. Like, you want things that will last, and you want to have quality pieces over quantity. Don't get your validation from others. Do not be a people pleaser when it comes to your style. And I could talk so much on style and discovering your personal style if you guys want to hear more on that. But I will just say that you should be dressing for yourself. And if you don't know your style, you can always research this. Go on Pinterest. Choose something that involves things that maybe you already own and you already love and you already feel comfortable in. Be careful not to just give away everything, because your style can change. And I've done this before where I'm like, oh, that's not my style anymore. And I gave away all of these things that I'm like, damn, I wish I didn't give that away. Like, stripes are kind of timeless, you know, like, should have kept that. Thinking back to this shirt I had in high school, like, some things never go out of style, like cheetah print, stripes, a leather jacket, black pants. There's just certain things that I think that you should hold on to because they really are timeless. But if you know that they're not fitting the vision that you have for yourself, then give them away. You can always go to a thrift store and probably find those pieces anyways, so it's fine. I want you to also observe what pieces in your closet were the result of trend cycles that maybe you didn't even feel confident in the first place, but you just got because you thought they were cool or they would make you look cool. Recognize that so you can learn from it, because a lot of us, we see things on other people and we want them just because it looks good on them, or it's really big and trendy right now on social media, but you might not even like the item. Like, think about, loafers or camo or bows. Do you actually like those things, or are you only wanting them because other people look good in them? Wear what is comfortable to you. I remember when I was in high school and I was dressing so much so for the male gaze. Like, I was wearing skinny jeans, and obviously skinny jeans were big, but I was so focused on like my assets. Like, okay, I don't have boobs, so we can't really work with that, but like, I have an ass, so I'm going to wear skinny jeans and I'm going to be looked at for having an ass, basically. Like, that's what I was going for. If I was going to a party, I was wearing skinny jeans because I felt like that's what I had to offer. You know what I'm saying? And the way that I dress now is like completely against the male gaze. If anything, like, I wear only baggy clothes, and the compliments that I get are typically from women, but who is complaining about that? Like, that's a win in my book. So go through your closet, create these piles, and get rid of it. Don't put it by the door and say you're going to take it to Goodwill and you never do. Do it now, put it in your trunk. Maybe there's somewhere else that you can give it to that will feel better for you. Like for me, I give my clothes away to my students because I feel a lot better knowing like, oh my God, I can see them wearing my clothes in the hallway and I know it went to a person and not the landfills. So that's just something that I can do because I'm a teacher. But maybe you know of a certain women's shelter, or you have cousins that you could give hand-me-downs to, or whatever it may be. Just give it away now, because I'm telling you, you're going to put it off and then your giveaway pile is going to become a new set of clutter. Okay, so work on that. Next, we're going to be moving on to your bathroom, okay? What I need you to do is throw out products that you are not using or are on their last life. So if you have a brush that's like missing the bristles, let's throw that out. Let's get a new quality brush that we're going to use, and let's not hold on to the old broken one, okay? It's broken. Start using things until they're completely empty before you buy more. I know I'll be guilty of this. Like, I see a sale for toothpaste and I buy a 2-pack of toothpaste, and then I go home and I'm like, oh my God, I have still all of these little samples from the dentist. And I also already had a full-size toothpaste in my closet. Like, why did I not look before I bought more? I think we're all really guilty of that. And maybe what you could do is kind of like take inventory of your items. If you have 3 toothpastes already, write that down and then cross it off as you use them. That way, like, if you go to the store, you know, I definitely do not need to fall for this trap of Crest, buy one, get one free. Like, no, I'm not doing that because I already have 2 toothpastes at home. Why do you have 4 leave-in conditioners, 5 curl creams, 8 lotions, and 3 dry shampoos? Use them up before you buy more. On that note, put out only the things that you do use. This is going to save you space, obviously, but let's talk about the time that you're saving as well. How much time do you spend looking for a hair tie, looking for a scrunchie, looking for a clip, looking for a bobby pin, when you can just purchase a pack one time, put them in the same designated spot, and find them in a matter of seconds? I am so guilty of this. Like, I will be looking to the ends of the earth to find something, and it's like, I just need to organize my stuff because I do have 5 clips and 4 scrunchies all right here, but they're not out and they're not accessible. So I'm like, oh, I need more scrunchies. And then I go and get more, and I'm like, wait, I had a whole pack already, just it wasn't out, so I didn't know. We have the capability to make our lives easier, but we don't do it, okay? Take the time to organize the spaces that you use and frequent, because you'll realize if it's organized, you already have what you need and you don't need to buy more. Think about your socks in your sock drawer, okay? I'm sure you probably have your normal organized socks that you flip together and you have matches, but I'm sure you also have a random pile in there of mismatched socks that, let's be honest, they don't have a match. The dryer ate them, okay? It is what it is. We're not going to hold on to those anymore, okay? If they have a hole in them, if they have, threads dangling, let's give them away. They may have been your favorite socks, but there can always be a new favorite, okay? Get rid of them. Next, we're going to go after the kitchen. So in your kitchen, I want you to focus on containers. So if your containers don't have a lid, we're not going to hold on to them because, once again, you're not going to use them. So let's get rid of those. As for pots and pans, I know for me, I literally use the same pot for my soup, for my rice. I use the same pan for my eggs. And honestly, you really only need like maybe 3 or 4 of each, because think about it, you're not going to be using more than 3 or 4 at a time. I mean, you only have 4 burners. So let's narrow that down. If you have a pot or a pan that you know your rice sticks to every time, or your eggs get crusted on, and why are you keeping that? Like, you're gonna just get pissed that you have to wash that pan and you let it soak, but really it never comes off, and then you're mad because you're trying to scrub. Like, you're making your life harder when you can make it easier. I want you to also go through your mugs. I know this is something that I'm really into collecting, but you don't need all of those mugs. And honestly, you are probably only going to ever use at max like 4 or 5. This is something I think I'll always have a collection of because I just love mugs. I love mugs, but if there's ones that you're not using, or they're honestly so small that they're impractical, give them away. I want you to also go through your cupboards and check out if you have anything that's stale, or, the box is open and you're not eating that thing. I want you to go through your fridge, check out if you have any rotten produce or spoiled dairy products. All of this should kind of be done routinely, like at least every month you should be checking if anything has gone bad, or, cleaning out your areas, because again, this is something you're accessing every day and you have the option to make your life easier or harder. Do you want to go to the store and buy another cottage cheese when you already have one in the fridge? Or do you want to make a list of what you have and then not spend money on things that you don't actually need? Okay, because they're going to end up rotting, and then you're going to be mad that you bought a new bag of spinach when the first one you didn't even use the first time. You know what I'm saying? Next, we're going to hit the basement and the garage if we have them. Keep only what you actually use. If you have a million boxes of Christmas decorations and Halloween decorations, but you didn't use them this year, chances are you probably never will. And these are things that we definitely collect because every year there's new things in Target, and there's new things in Walmart, and there's new things online that are trying to catch our eye when it comes to holidays. Okay, everywhere you go, they're gonna have the decor, but it's up to you to realize, do I already have the things that I need to make my home feel special this season? If the answer is yes, why are you buying more? Holiday stuff doesn't really get outdated, so there's not really a need for you to keep repurchasing new things. And obviously, if this brings you joy and it's something that makes you excited for the holidays, as an adult, that's never to be taken for granted. So whatever it takes for you, but just think, if you're buying in excess or you're hoarding in excess, how can you clear up this space? Clearing this up doesn't always mean giving to Goodwill. Like I said, a lot of communities have like a buy nothing on Facebook, and this is a good way for you to feel more gratitude in giving away your items, because again, it's actually going to a quote unquote real person. Like, you can be like, oh, Sally is coming to pick this up, or Sally wants me to drop this off. And it's not like, let me drop it off at Savers and not actually know if it makes it past the sorting process. Okay, so now we've successfully decluttered our home and we're feeling good. We're feeling clear. We're feeling like there's a lot of space. We're feeling like we're not tripping over things or wasting time picking out an outfit or wasting time trying to find the things that we need. So that's all good. But now what we're going to do is clear our devices, okay? Your devices are something that you use every day, and feeling cluttered in your home isn't where it ends, because you also have a home screen, right? Your home screen may be looking crazy right now. So I want you to take a look and see, do you have apps of shopping sites that you don't use anymore? Do you still have Forever 21 and H&M? Like, are you even shopping there anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's clear out the shopping apps. Let's clear out the school apps. Okay, if you're no longer in school or using those apps, there's no reason for them to be on your phone. Let's clear out the games we're no longer playing. Let's clear out the editing apps. Anything that you're not using, let's clear it. You can also click to clear it from your home screen, but it doesn't delete the app. So if there's something that you want to hold on to, but you don't use it on a regular everyday basis, you can click to clear it from your home screen, and that way you're not looking at it every day, and it doesn't feel like you have a million things that you need to go through to access one thing. So we've cleaned up our phone apps. Next, what I want you to do is, of course, you knew this was coming. You need to clear some pictures. If you still have your exes in your photos, maybe it's time we let go of that. If there's people that you've cut ties with, let's also free up some space there. If there's screenshots that we still have from sites or copying people's homework, whatever it may be, screenshots, I would just say probably delete them all, because literally when the fuck do we ever look at our screenshots? Honestly. I want you to also turn off your notifications, because oftentimes you can feel really cluttered by all of the notifications that you get, whether that is from shopping sites, Instagram, or TikTok. I turned off my notifications for social media, and I actually highly recommend this because it kind of puts you in control, not the app or the social media platform. You get to choose when it has access to you, because as I mentioned, social media is swarming with ads. So you're pretty much telling the ads, I will look at you when I want to, and when I don't want to, you cannot reach me. You know what I'm saying? Now it's not just seeing an ad, it's people talking about things they've bought or convincing you to wear this thing or get this gadget. And so ads are in the form of just social media content. So choosing to turn your notifications off is kind of like closing the door between you and marketing. I want you to also remove subscriptions from your email to places that you no longer care for. We constantly fall for, sign up to receive 10% off your first order. And then maybe you don't even end up shopping at that place, but you're still receiving all of these emails. Last offers, on sale, 60% off entire website. And it's bro, I don't even shop at this place, and I'm having all this clutter in my inbox from somewhere that I don't even shop at. So I want you to go through the emails and see the places that you subscribe to. And if you do not shop there, or you do not want to be reminded about whatever it is they have to offer you, please remove them. Now, this is a bonus step, but if you want to, go through your music and organize that. I personally suck at organizing my music. I don't have any playlists, really. I have a couple main ones, but ultimately none of it is really organized, and I could definitely benefit from going through my music and organizing it, but I don't think this is necessarily necessary. The photos, the email notifications and subscriptions, and then the social media notifications, those are the main ones that I want you to focus on. So clean up your phone apps, turn off your notifications, delete your pictures, and if you can, organize your music. After all of that, you should now be able to consider yourself a minimalist. Well, kind of. By definition, minimalism is a lifestyle of intentionally owning and consuming fewer things. Mission successful, hopefully. In addition to that, though, it's the promotion of experiences over material possessions. So instead of saving for a new purse or virtual reality glasses, your mindset should now have you craving experiences. I think my aunt is honestly a great example of this. While she does succumb to material things like goat's milk soap, very random, but she's so into that, and vintage dishware, she has always shown me that true happiness exists when you do the things that you love, like going to an art museum or kayaking or going to the farmer's market and then cooking a big meal with your cousins. Growing up, I kind of had two polar opposites, okay? I had my dad who, even though we were always struggling with money, mind you, had a strong love for things, material things. He always wanted the newest kitchen gadgets and the biggest TVs and a hot tub and a big sectional in the living room. And I quickly learned that that never brought him or us true happiness. There was always the next best thing, and we were always reaching to grab something that just never felt like it was attainable. And if it was, it never lasted. Corporate America will always dangle the carrot, but it's up to you to choose if you want to bite. So when you do decide to buy new things, I want you to remember that less is more. I want you to be deliberate and intentional. Ask yourself, will this thing or will this item bring me value? If you're kind of on the edge and you're not sure, create a wish list in your notes app and add the items to that before buying. Set a time, so maybe you wait a couple weeks, or maybe you wait a month, or maybe you do it by paycheck. If that deadline rolls around and you don't have an urge to buy it, that can kind of give you a better understanding of what you actually do want and also instill the idea of patience, because if you're willing to wait for something, I think you'll actually receive more satisfaction when you do finally get it. Like if you really want the Ninja Creamy, okay, this is big, everyone has it, and you put it in your notes and you're like, I would love to have the Ninja Creamy because I want to make healthy sweet treats, and sweet treats are something that I crave every day, and I think it would be useful for me. Put it in your notes app, and then after the craze dies down and people are no longer talking about it really anymore, if you still want it and you still think you could benefit from it, then get it, okay? I'm not telling you to not get anything, but be more intentional about what you do get and make sure that it has value in your everyday life. Also think about if there's something that you have to give up to get said thing. So if you have to save for it and you have to work for a month to be able to afford this thing, it kind of is more rewarding because you had to put time into working and you were able to afford it all on your own. So you have the gratitude of like working for something. It's not just, oh, I used Afterpay, or oh, I put it on a credit card and now I have this shirt or these jeans. You know what I'm saying? So it gives you a better quality of working for the things that you want. And find what is worth it for you. So my sister, for instance, she thinks that hair products are worth it to her and she invests a lot of money in them. She does not care if this shampoo costs $30 because she doesn't want to have split ends and she wants to have thick, shiny hair. And that's what's worth it to her. Is that worth it to me? No, I get cheap ass shampoo and conditioner, but I do have dry hair. And honestly, I don't care. That's something I don't really care about, but like find the things that you do care about and don't fully take them away because you deserve to have things that you love, but just not in excess. I want to quickly add in that letting go of material items is key, but also you must be able to let go of grudges or people that are occupying space in your mind. So if you do have this thing that you're holding on to, this situation that happened to you when you were young with this person, and you're holding on to that, and you're holding on to that hatred or that guilt or whatever feeling or strong emotion you have towards a person or a situation, this is taking up space in your mind and in your heart. So if you're constantly having to say, I am the way that I am because of this thing that happened to me when I was younger, or you're always playing the victim and you never feel like you're in control because you always attribute your reaction or situations to something that happened to you, you need to realize that that's actually taking you out of the driver's seat of your own life, and your body can't tell whether the event is happening now or it happened 20 years ago. If you allow yourself to feel the same emotions and you work yourself up in the same way as though the situation just happened, your body cannot tell the difference. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this, and if you don't know him, you should definitely look into his work because he talks a lot more on this, but I just wanted to quickly bring that up because it's not a snake biting you that kills you, it's the venom, okay? If you allow this venom to run through you, of course, in the aspect of your emotions and your feelings, it's not hurting that person anymore. It's only hurting you. You are allowing this hatred or this guilt to run through your body and affect you in all of these new experiences. For what? I want you to just learn to let go. Let go of your items, let go of these feelings, and let go of the things that are no longer serving you. I want you to find what experiences bring you happiness. And instead of collecting material possessions, I want you to learn to collect memories. Dress to impress yourself. Do not care about trends or what everyone else expects you to wear or what everyone else is doing. Use only what you need and use it until it's empty. Know that you have free will. And lastly, make peace within your space, within your mind, and within your connections. The power lies within you. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that you gained some knowledge from this, some perspective, some helpful tips for you to start taking on this idea of minimalism, or at the very least, learning to let go. And let me know if any of this was useful for you. And if you start to clean up your area, take pictures, send them to me, leave a comment, whatever it may be. Oh, I forgot to mention, my interlinked moment for this episode is I just went to the Cleveland Art Museum and I went to this exhibit called Picasso and Paper, and it was all about Picasso and the works that he created on paper. And there was this one section that the concept of the works in this space were, we are what we keep. It says, Picasso kept every letter, envelope, and seemingly every insignificant scrap of paper, leaving thousands of individual pieces of ephemera at his death. His methods for keeping these materials were unconventional, stacks of paper piled high on mantelpieces and covering every surface. Once his space had reached capacity, he clipped the clusters of letters together and hung them from his ceiling. The sheer volume of the correspondence with which he was inundated played a part in the organized chaos. So I thought this was crazy because as I had recorded this episode, I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We are what we keep. And much like Picasso, I am so sentimental and I love to keep things and letters and scraps, and I'll cut out the little logo from a bag that I got from a store. I am such the type to hold on to things, but learn that you don't need to keep every item. I will still be holding on to a lot of things, and y'all can't take that away from me, but keep only a little box. Keep a little sentimental box and put the things that you collect. And if it starts taking up a lot of space, maybe go through it and see if there's anything that you can purge, like an item that you realize, okay, this is kind of ridiculous to hold on to. But if you love to hold on to things, just make sure the things aren't holding on to you.